Hello and welcome viewers of My Key TV Caribbean Talent Network. Here we are at one of the most prominent entertainment shrines in the world. And who do we find here? Redemption Sounds. I want to invite you to come on this journey with me. Welcome to the Honorable Robert Bob Marley OM Exhibit here at the Grammy Museum. February 6, 1945, Bob Marley was born. Although Bob Marley did not win a Grammy during his lifetime, he was awarded in February of 2001 posthumously a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Could you tell us a little bit about the Grammy Museum?
We're an educational institution that really focuses on the process of music, the history of music, how genres are interconnected, music and politics, music and social justice. We really cover a lot of topics in a small space. We're all interactive. Everything is technologically, advanced, and it's touchscreen, and you bring students in or general visitors in, and they are able to learn while they actually get a hands-on feel for what we're all about at the museum. So they can touch our exhibits and sing along and dance. One of our favorite things, the favorite things for our staff is to see people really enjoy the museum, singing their favorite songs or songs their parents listen to or their grandparents listen to, or maybe learn things about a different genre of music that they had never even knew existed before.
Enjoy the journey, the Bob Marley journey.
So what we wanted to do with the Bob Marley Messenger exhibit was really talk about who he was as a person, his impact on reggae music, and the way we thought about doing that was to fill a case of all things reggae. So you'll see some I-Trees outfits, the stage costumes that they wore, a Toots and the Maytals guitar, a steel pulse guitar from David Hines, some very interesting posters that have almost all of the great reggae artists that have signed it, some pieces from Bob Marley's tours that we got from his crew, so a backstage pass, some buttons, some photos, and of course some 45s talking about the Scatolites and ska and the emergence into reggae music. So there is a lot to look at in this case. It's very bright and colorful, as we wanted it to be, kind of a reflective of reggae music. So what we had done to kind of bring the exhibit to life and to really get the viewpoint of those who were playing music with Bob or those who knew him best were to create these videos. So we interviewed the Marley family, we interviewed Carlos Santana, Jason Mraz, Blondie, all of these artists that were influenced by Bob or were friends of Bob, and really got their take on his life. We talk about Bob as a spiritual being since that was such an important part of his life. The Rastafarian culture was huge for him, and you see it reflected in his music, in the way that he dressed, in the way he lived his life. So we have pieces of the Rasta culture in here. We have Bob's Bible, the Kebra Nagast. We actually spoke to Roz Michael, who played music with Bob, was a longtime friend. Bob Marley as a messenger, this was such a huge part of his message, was getting out the positive word of the Rasta culture. This case is all about Bob Marley as an inspiration. You see we have some outfits from Ziggy, we have a Carlos Santana guitar. We also talk about the parallels between Bob Marley and Obama. Much has been made about that. We wanted to incorporate that into the exhibit as well, since, like I said, it's talked about a lot. Just men who are changing the world.
Ms. Kate Stubner is going to continue us along this Bob Marley journey.
We definitely, like I said, wanted to bring out a different side of Bob, so show him when he was, in his downtime, not necessarily just the performance shots that everyone has seen. This was taken by Neville Garrick, Bob's art director, before anything else was added onto this house. So it's one of the only pictures that Neville knew of that was actually, the house in its original form. He definitely, like I said, loved sports, and from the stories that we were told, he always had a guitar and a football or a soccer ball with him. So he had these great shots where he challenged the Island Records team when they were in London to games on the weekends. He was a great ping pong player. He loved playing. and was very good from what we were told. And this one is actually pretty interesting as well, taken by Neville Garrick. But so it was outside of Bob's house. He had gone back to Jamaica, and these two boys that are in the photo don't believe it's actually him, and so his bandmates were laughing because he said, "No, I'm actually Bob Marley. This is actually where I was raised." And they said, "We don't believe you. Bob Marley would never come back here." And he was like, "Well, here I am." So this is a photo that you could see he's smirking a little bit, and they're laughing because these two are just not believing the story whatsoever.
Phenomenal.
Some photos of Bob at a video shoot, and actually Naomi Campbell, the model, was one of the kids that were in this video. I don't think you see her in these photos, but she was at the children's center that it was shot at, and she was in some of them. She was one of this children in this great music video. It was his first music video that he had ever done. Mr. Neville Garrick kind of, like I said, walked us through these photos, and he told us in this one, one of his friends had borrowed Bob's lawyer's car and gotten into a crash. So the police were coming to investigate this car crash that had happened.
Was this in Jamaica?
It was in Jamaica, yeah. It absolutely was. It was the day of the One Love Peace concert.
I don't think anybody knows about that story.
Our way down, we kind of head into the performance section. So these are some of the more iconic photos that you'll see of Bob, but we wanted to talk about him. Like I said, everything we heard from Ziggy and from Junior Marvin and from some of the people who played with him was that he was very meticulous in the production studio and on stage. Anything he does, he made sure it was absolutely perfect. So he was so proud of his having his own studio, having Tough Gong. He cut a lot of records there. He actually produced one other person aside from the Wailers. He produced Martha Velez, and he did it all in his Jamaican studio. This exhibit actually came about because we had done a family program with Ziggy Marley. He had his Grammy Award-winning kids album, Family Time, and he had come to do a show for the young kids, our younger audience, and had said, we have all of these great photos of my dad. Would you ever be interested in doing an exhibit?
How has the response been at the exhibit?
What we wanted to do was give a really authentic view of Bob's life and the people who have come in, and there's a lot of people who know a lot about Bob, and they've all been really positive about the experience and really learning more as they come. And then also I run the education department here, so we wanted kids to come in and really learn a little bit more, not just the Bob that they see on t-shirts and on these posters, but really know that he was a voice of social change for the people of Jamaica.
Being here at the Bob Marley Exhibit is really taking a journey into Bob's life. Here you see an immense projection screen. For those of you who have never been to a Bob Marley concert, I think you want to check this out. I have front seats, all right?
This piece of the exhibit was actually something that we had done for a John Lennon exhibit that we have upstairs, but it's designed to give visitors of the exhibit the chance to write messages and tell people how Bob Marley affected their life, how his music, his message made an impact on them.
There's a special guitar here on the exhibit, and Ziggy came by and he saw it. Could you tell us more about this special guitar?
We were very fortunate to get Bob's Les Paul that hadn't been out of Jamaica since he had passed away. We had asked, the Marley family when we first started working with them, is there any possibility of us getting this guitar, knowing that it's so special to their family and to Jamaica in general. It's it's a national treasure there, this guitar that was in this museum. So he was so kind as to let us borrow it for a certain amount of time, and it actually traveled from Jamaica in the hands of a Marley the whole time. It went to Miami, to Sedella, and then from Sedella to Ziggy, and Ziggy delivered it to us just a few hours before we opened. This was the guitar that has my father's sweat in it, and it really it means so much to us. Please, we're happy to let you have it. Take good care of it. Enjoying yourself over at the boombox?
I'm in a trance, as you called it. Can you tell us more about the boombox?
Absolutely. So we have a boombox with some of Bob Marley's best, greatest videos. We felt that it was really important to showcase his songs and show them visually as well, since a lot of the visitors we have, never got the chance to see him live.
What is your favorite Bob Marley song?
Lively Up Yourself is my favorite. That's the one that, talking to Neville Garrick, who is his art director, and some of the musicians that played with him, they said, that's the one one he used when he wanted to get the crowd worked up and to switch things. So that's the one I always find myself bobbing my head to and singing along to when it comes up. We mentioned earlier that technology is a huge part of our museum. We consider ourselves a 21st century museum. The music is living and breathing, and it's very apparent on this table that we have down here that allows you to really touch and move and watch and listen and kind of live the exhibit as you're watching it. So you can take these photos and you can make them bigger, smaller, taking the videos, pausing the videos, changing them up, moving everything around as you're learning.
How long will this exhibit be open for?
The museum will be up and running until October, so they can come through October 2nd to see this exhibit. The museum is open 7 days a week, aside from Christmas and Thanksgiving, but they can come in. Anyone is welcome to come in from 10 to 7:30 on Saturday and 11:30 to 7:30 every other day. And we're located in LA Live, the LA Live district of downtown Los Angeles, so right by the Staples Center.
Thank you. What a beautiful journey this has been. My parents had the pleasure of meeting Bob, and I had the pleasure of meeting him today here at the Grammy Museum. What a great man. A man of peace, a man of love, a man that will live forever in my heart and in yours. My KTV family, I just had to bring you upstairs to see a real live Grammy. Can you believe that Damien Jr. Gong Marley and Ziggy Marley held one of these? One love.
In this crazy love, all right.